in the very beginning, the mind starts to doubt it, starts to question it. Well, how long is this going to take? You know, what am I going to get if I do this every single day, and how long is it going to take for me to get it? And if it sounds like it's going to take too long, then I'll try something else. I'll try something that's faster. I'll smoke some pot, you know, or I'll have a beer. I'll watch some football. You know, I'll just join what the herd's doing. You know, and the herd is going from one thing to another, one thing to another, one thing to another all the time. So, you know, just try and relax as much as possible and let the breath do what it wants to do by itself. Have no, have no intention for yourself to breathe any particular way. Just let the body breathe however it wants to breathe. Yeah, the belly breathing is important. You know, it is a healthy way to breathe. And to allow your body to breathe the way it wants to breathe is very important. If you practice meditation over time, eventually your breath will change. Not because you changed it. Eventually your breath will start to be slower and longer and very subtle over time. But not because you changed it. This just comes with the relaxation of the body and the calming of the mind. If you practice meditation, you will notice you're not talking as much as you used to, because you don't have a need to constantly have your thoughts be put out in the world. You know, you start to realize a lot of your thoughts aren't worth repeating, so you keep them to yourself. That's the thing, that's the realization that needs to happen, is that your mind is using your life to live its life. Your mind is using thinking to live your life, and there is a much better way to live, and that way to live is just be present to what's happening. You don't have to analyze everything. The awareness that is your true nature knows what's going on. When you walked in this room, you didn't have to take time to look at every single thing in this room so you could relax like my cat does. You don't have to do that. Your awareness sees everything right away and recognizes it, doesn't it? You know, without thinking, your awareness sees everything and recognizes it. So practice of meditation allows your ability to be present and your ability to be aware in a natural way, and trust that and learn that that's actually healthier and more realistic than thinking about everything all the time, because the thoughts are coming from your past experience, and your past experience is not what's happening now. And if your past experience is the only database, is the only resource you have to live your life, you're in trouble. Because, you know, what there is to know to live life is so far beyond anything that you have experienced in your past. So you're going to continue to make a lot of mistakes, and you continue to cause yourself to do a lot of suffering by trying to use thinking, try to use the past to live in the future. It won't work. The past, you need to be able to understand that you have to put the past where it belongs, in the past, not in the future. Most of us are living, most of us have our past in our future. And what I mean by that is that you're using thinking which is past-based to live in the present. You're using thinking which is past-based to live in the present, right? Which means you're using the past to live into the future. Your past is in your future. Everything that happens, you analyze it and recognize it based on what? Your past experience, right? And so you can't be very creative that way. You can't be very effective in living your life that way. You've got to be able to recognize that if you don't think, which is coming from the past, and you are able to be aware of what's happening right now and understand that your awareness is intelligent, that your awareness has wisdom. Your mind doesn't have wisdom. It's like a computer program running. The awareness has wisdom. It actually knows how to live your life if you give it a chance to do that. I had a client come to me in my private practice, and he was very interested in meditation, and so we talked about it, and I gave him instructions of how to practice and everything, and he was actually excited about the possibility after hearing about what it could do, right? And he was atypical in the sense that instead of saying, oh, well, instead of telling me all his concerns and considerations, right, he just jumped in the deep end of the pool and he said, okay, how long do you think I should meditate to get the most benefit? And I said, well, you know, In Zen, they practice 30 minutes at each sitting at 30 minutes. And 30 minutes is considered to be sufficient to get the benefit of in that particular sitting. He said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I was surprised because, I meet very few people that jump right into 30 minutes in the very beginning, right? And then the other thing, a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to Mooji, who is a teacher that talks about meditation and spiritual teaching and whatnot. And he was talking, he was asking his students to do a practice for 7 days, to just try this for 7 days. And what he was asking them to do is to just sit still and be quiet for 30 minutes at a time, not even paying attention to your breath, just still and be quiet for 30 minutes at a time, and just watch your mind. Just watch the thinking happening, watch the emotions, and watch the sensations in the body. Just be empty. Be the awareness, being aware of your mind, the body, and the emotions. Do it for 30 minutes. So I mentioned this to this client, and he said, oh, I'm going to do that too. So now he's doing 30 minutes of watching the mind and 30 minutes of watching the breath, right? Every single day, and he said, I'm going to do that every single day, So I was very interested when he came back the next week to find out what happened, right? And so I said to him, I said, well, what do you have to report about what happened? And he said, I thought of you when he was talking. He said, I understand what you're saying and everything, but I just keep finding, myself thinking and nothing really happened. And it's just, I thought something profound was going to happen, but nothing really happened. And, so what's going on? Am I doing it wrong? And I said to him, listen to what I'm about to say. What you just said is what I was asking you to watch. But you didn't notice that you were thinking. And you didn't notice you were thinking, you were identified with the thinking. And as long as that's the case, you can't practice meditation because you're identifying yourself with the thinking activity instead of being the awareness looking at the thinking activity. Right? So the reason I'm saying that, the reason I said I mentioned it, because you talk like that. And so stop doing that, because what happens is that, what's happening is that the voice in your head is talking, right? And it's using your mouth, right? So the thinking goes directly to your mouth, and it comes out of your mouth. Then you hear what you said, and you believe it. And that creates a cycle. That creates a vicious cycle, right? You believe it, and then it throws you right back into your mind, right? And you have another thought happens, and there's no gap between the thought and what's coming out of your mouth. And so it comes out of your mouth, and then you hear what you just said in terms of, oh, I don't know what's going on. This isn't meditation. This isn't working. What am I doing wrong? And then you believe what you just said, and you're right back in your mind again. You see how it just keeps cycling, right? So you've got to get out of the cycle. You've got to understand, you've got to stop letting it use your mouth. That's what I meant when I said before, if you practice this consistently over time, you'll find you have less to say because you're not letting the mind use your mouth as much. What you're doing is you're letting the mind run its programming, but you're not logging on. You're letting the mind run its programming, but you're not identifying with it, you're not engaged with it, you're not involved with it. If you're engaged with it and you're involved with it and you're keeping it all in, that's called neurosis, right? That's a mental disturbance, right? But what I'm saying is this constant process, this constant activity that's going on, you need to get yourself a divorce from it and stop identifying yourself as that voice. That voice is what drives you crazy, and then what makes it worse is you think it's you. Right? The personality is not you. The personality is the mind that is occupying your body and using your life to live its program out. That's what your mind's doing. And if you don't wake up to that, the body will die and you will never have been here. Or the only thing that will have been here is a thinking activity for whatever number of years you're here. That's what will be here. A thinking activity that's related to an emotional experience, that's related to physical sensations, and that's your life. That's it. It's all automatic. It's all programmed. The thoughts that are happening in your mind, you have no say-so about. You have no say-so about the thoughts that happen in your mind. You have no say-so about the emotions that occur. You think you do, but you don't. You really don't. I mean, if you start to pay attention, that's one of the things that should scare you, is that this voice in your head is running its own program. It's not you. All of that stuff will work itself out. Meditation will allow you to start to discover a natural process that works itself out. You know, that's why I say that if you practice meditation and you do it consistently the way it's meant to be done, and you study the teachings that go along with it, you will be involved in a psychotherapeutic activity. Because you'll be looking at your mind. That if you come to therapy, that's what I help people do, look at their mind. Consider what your thinking is and where that's coming from, and is it useful, is it realistic, is it working? And the answer is always the same, no, it's not. Just because there are aspects of our thinking process that we use for practical reasons, right? There are aspects of our thinking process that we use for practical reasons, right? Then we think the whole thing is workable, and it's not. You know, if you pay attention, you'll recognize that, okay, this thought is about, you know, what I need to do today. Nothing wrong with that, practical thought. So I think that thought, I look at what I need to do today. When I'm done with that activity, I'm done using my mind to think, but it's not done using me to think. And then it will keep running. Well, what about this? Do you look okay today? Is your hair okay today? How much money do you owe? Are your finances bad? How does your body feel? Oh, you have a pain. It's cancer. This is going all the time, you know? It's going all the time. It's doing that about you. It's doing that about everybody else. It's doing it about life. It's doing it about the future. It's doing it about the past. It's crazy. It's crazy. But you can't control it, but you can disengage from your involvement with it, and you can look at it instead of be it. That's a huge difference, you know what I mean? If you start to practice meditation consistently over time, and there are people in this room who have done that, right? And they have reported that it's true. That's the thing that I want to get across more than anything, you know? That this actually works. It's not going to happen overnight, but it actually works. And if you do it consistently the way it's meant to be done over time, you will start noticing the difference it makes. You will be calmer. You will be more relaxed. You'll have less problems in your relationships with other people because you'll see a reaction as a reaction instead of something that you must say, right? You think it's so important, you know, we think it's so important to tell other people how we feel. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That causes all kinds of problems because most of our emotions are reactions that are coming from past experience. They may have nothing to do with what's going on right now. And when you talk to somebody that way and they experience that they don't know what the hell you're talking about, you're in the beginning of an argument. Your personality is not living life, it's performing in life. It's achieving in life. It's getting more. It's avoiding pain. It's seeking pleasure, right? And it's doing it 24/7. It doesn't care whether you need to sleep or not, right? It's not interested in whether you're happy or not. That's not what the program's about. It's not, the voice in your head is, if the voice in your head was really interested in your being calm, satisfied, happy, and peaceful, that's how it would be, but it's not. It's running a program that all it cares about is surviving, and one of the ways you survive as a personality is to look good and be right. So when you're in a social situation, that's what it's going to keep producing. What can I say to look good? What can I say to be right? What can I say to look smart? What can I say to be in control? Because if you experience your natural state, if you experience your true nature is confident naturally. It doesn't need to be confident. It doesn't require improving anything. That's its nature. Its nature is to be calm. Its nature is to be satisfied. Its nature is to be happy and peaceful. That's its nature. It's not trying to get anything. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't want anything. It's not part of the rat race. The awareness that it's your true nature is not part of the rat race. Okay? It's already home. It's not trying to get anywhere. It's already home. It's not trying to get anything. It's already got everything. It's already happy, peaceful, and satisfied. That's the thing that you have to understand. If you start to succeed in getting your attention out of this constant thought activity and spending more time in the awareness of the body breathing, you'll start to notice that when you're here, this feels good. This is satisfying. This is peaceful. Right? This is a natural state of well-being. It's a natural state of well-being. And it's not a theoretical idea, it's a scientific truth now. It's been studied in brain science. Look it up. Go on Google, meditation and brain science. Put that in and you'll see there's tons of stuff there now. Trauma, see, most people don't understand the nature of trauma. You know? It was once believed that what happened caused the trauma, right? Like if you were in Vietnam, you will be traumatized, right? But then they did studies and research and found out only a small percentage of the veterans in Vietnam had PTSD. Well, how could that be if the war caused the trauma? But what they discovered doing more research on it, it's not what's happening that's causing the trauma or the upset, it's the way you're thinking about it that's causing the trauma. I'm not saying you shouldn't get assistance, support, or help. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that meditation, if you learn to practice meditation, whatever went on in your past that you considered to be trauma, right? If you practice meditation, you learn to relax the body and calm the mind, that material will come up naturally at some point to be experienced and released. And you can do that in a meditative state. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. I can't emphasize how true that is. But the key to the whole thing, and this is the real challenge, it's not the technique, the real challenge is to do this every single day like brushing your teeth without fail. And then doing it every single day to slowly start to expand the practice so you can get the full benefit. And if you do that over time, you will get results.